you feel your soul calling for something, go all in. If you're happy doing what you're doing, then stay doing that. But when you feel that call to be doing something different, don't do it. If you're doing it for the money, the ratings, or because you see somebody else doing it, that doesn't last. My problem before was like one foot in, one foot out.
Not fully surrendering,
not fully giving it a chance.
Welcome to another episode of Women of Tomorrow. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. Women of Tomorrow is a platform dedicated to women positioning themselves for longevity. So do us a favor, if you like what you see, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Tiffany. Hi. That's so funny. Thank you so much for coming to Atlanta to be with us
We've
today.
been trying to do this for a while now. It's been a few months of us
I know
talking.
it was 2023.
Yes.
and we made it happen.
Yes,
So
I'm here.
I truly appreciate it. It's an honor. I started in 2023. I found out who you were and started watching you on Instagram, and then I found you on YouTube because I tend to like the long form content.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes I just need that good 30 minutes, that good hour to really like unwind and be fed.
It's funny that you say that because I'm always trying to edit down. I'm like, I feel like this is getting too long, but people are like, no, make it longer. Add more. Yeah, that's the thing now because everything got short and now it's back to like long.
And now it's going back long.
Yeah.
Like I think it really depends on obviously the audience, like you know the age range and all that kind of
and the
thing.
content.
Yeah, exactly. Some stuff is just like in and out, give me a quick boost, and then other is like, I'm taking this whole next hour or two to just
soak this all in.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to get all into that. Wait, tell me first, how do you pronounce your last name?
Laibhen.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was making it more syllables.
Something crazy.
Yeah, no. Tiffany Laibhen. Thank you so much
Laibhen
once
Spence,
again.
but yeah.
Laibhen Spence.
Spence.
Yes, I did see that. Where are you from?
I'm from Philly.
You're from Philly and born
Philly.
And raised?
Born in Brooklyn.
Oh.
Raised in Philly.
Oh, wow. So
yeah,
how long were you in Brooklyn?
So I was like 8.
Do you remember?
I do.
Okay.
I do because we went back often. My family still lives in Brooklyn.
Yeah, because you kind of have a little bit of a New York.
Do I?
Yeah, because I
certain words
still
comes out. Like my mom is full blown Brooklyn, New York, Puerto Rican.
Wow.
So it's like I think I still get a little bit from her.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we moved to Philly.
And you've been there since.
And we've been in Philly since.
Do you love it?
I'm ready to
You're
go.
ready? You're ready to leave?
I am.
Why?
I need a change of environment.
Yeah.
And I think especially after becoming a mom in Philly, everything is so like close and tight. I need space.
Yeah.
I need room for him to just roam.
Yeah.
And up in Philly,
it's not it. It's just city. It's just blocks and blocks.
It is. And I live outside of the city, but I'm just ready for something. I think I'm just ready for something different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you thinking? Atlanta? Well, we got a lot of room to roam in Atlanta. So you've been...
I'm thinking like the surrounding areas.
Yeah.
So we've been like searching.
Okay.
And looking. But yeah, we are ready for some land and a home.
I think you will love it here.
Yeah.
Especially as a change. I know a lot of people who've lived here. I've lived here since 2001. I left a couple of times just for like work, but just for short periods of time. So,
where were you at before that?
Before that, I was in Huntsville, Alabama. Before Atlanta, I was in Huntsville, Alabama. Before that, I was in Columbus, Georgia. Before that, Macon, Georgia. Before that, Connecticut.
Wait a minute. So where are you from?
I would say I'm from Atlanta because I lived here the longest.
Okay.
Like every other place was like a year, 2 years,
Gotcha.
you know, and then came here.
Okay.
So I've been here. Atlanta's like first home. LA, California is like second home.
Gotcha.
That's where my family's from. So I used to go there every summer.
Okay.
And then I ended up moving there as an adult for a couple of years. So California is a second home.
I thought about California for a long time. And then once I had the baby, I was like, I need quiet and space. And I was like, that's not.
I feel like there are places in California. California is huge. So if you live outside
of LA.
Yes, completely
but
outside of LA.
It's so expensive for like the land you can get here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's big to me. Like, I want a yard. I want to just let him go roam. He's a crazy little 3-year-old.
Okay.
So, like, he needs space to run and get all that energy out.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
wild.
what I would pay for what I want here in LA, it's like.
So you've already been pricing stuff and seeing stuff. So
I'm deep in.
How far along? When do you make the decision?
I can't reveal. I can't reveal.
No exclusives here?
But it's happening.
Okay. I'm sending you lots of love and positivity to make that transition. I think it's going to be beautiful. Before we get into like deeper conversation, I want you to tell the people, what is it? What's your professional title? What do you call yourself? I know you have many things that you do.
And I don't know. I thought about that so much, like knowing I was coming to talk to you. And even when I'm just talking on my platform.
Yeah.
I'm like, I know everybody wants you to have like
you don't.
A title.
I just wanted to respect the fact if you did.
I don't. I'm a creative.
Yes. I saw it, and you put artist in your bio.
Yeah, because I see things in my head. I feel it a certain way, and I'm like, that's what I want to see. You know what I mean? Like, that's everything for me. So,
have you always led with that side of your brain, like with that?
I have.
Okay.
I've always been a creative.
Okay. And so your work has always been creative. Like,
it's always come from that place of just like, see, even with my YouTube, like that was the way that it looks, the aesthetic, all of that was something I'd seen and I wanted to bring to life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, I could easily say I'm an influencer but it's like, I feel like it's so much more than that. Like, I feel like I have so much creatively that I want to do, that I still want to do going forward, that I haven't even tapped into.
Yeah.
That I'm like, to say I'm just an influencer or just a digital creator, it's so much more. So
yeah,
I'm still figuring it out. Maybe one day I'll have a title where like right now I'm like.
Right now we're going with artist. We're going with creative.
We're going with creative. We're going with artist.
For me, when I look at your content, it's like, yeah, obviously you created this and that's why we're here. I listen to your journey because you talk about what you're learning, what you're dealing with, how you're growing. And so I put you in the category of just like self-help and healing. And that's what I'm drawn to. Like, I'm drawn to it all because it's like it's really the messenger, right, that helps you tap in,
right? And
then once you hear the message, then you're like you're locked in.
Yeah, I even toyed on like healer, and I'm like, that doesn't feel.
It doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit. You know what I mean? Like, I love fashion. And I love like expressing yourself physically. It's like It's so many different things.
Yeah.
So we're sticking with artists.
Definitely. With artists right
but
now.
I love to be placed in the self-help category because that's my goal. That's my intention. That's what I'm focused on right now, is making sure that when people see my content or anything that I create, that they leave feeling more inspired or more free. And I think that's another reason why I don't want to put like a title, because I'm like, you don't have to fit into that box.
Yeah, you don't.
You know what I mean? You don't have to be black or white. There's a gray area.
There's such a gray area.
There's such a gray area. And like everybody asks and they're like, well, how would you describe yourself? I'm like, I don't know. It's like a little bit of everything.
Were you ever anxious answering that question?
Always.
Yeah. And then finally, what was the click when you were just like?
When I was like, I don't know. It's
when
okay
you just
not
were
to
like,
know.
I don't know.
I think I was trying to figure it out for so long, like, and then I would attach myself to one thing. So I did fashion design for a while, and I was only doing that. And then I wasn't bored with it, but I just felt like there was so many other parts of myself that was not being expressed.
Yeah.
Then I went into like influencing, because that was like my more creative side. And I was just able to do whatever I wanted, but I felt like now I wasn't going into the deeper part of myself, and I left the fashion. It was like, I kept trying to pick what I was, and I was like, I'm not. And maybe that's okay.
That's okay.
Like, I'm Tiffany, and just look at my content, and then whatever you get from it, whatever you walk away with,
because that's what an artist does. An artist presents, and then
it.
the interpretation or however you receive it, that's what it's for.
Right.
That's so cool though that when the answer is I don't know, it's like the most freeing answer that you can Because then it's just like, I'm not going to give you a black and white. I'm going to say, I don't know. And then it's up to you to ask more.
And then I don't have to spend my energy trying to figure out
what's
what
the right
title is. It's like,
Yeah.
I just want to do the thing.
Yeah.
I just want to do it. I just want to create what I see in my head. And I just want to put these messages out there. And then the way that is interpreted by who needs it, then that's what it is.
Okay, cool. I love that. And I was going to ask, do you offer any type of services with the work that you do?
I'm working on it. I have a lot of people that, like, once they watch the YouTube videos, they're like, can I get a one-on-one? And I'm like, I'm an energetic person. So I have to be careful. Like, I have to be careful how I spread my energy, because I can take a lot on, and I can absorb people's energy really, really easily.
And what has that felt like in the past? Like, has it shaped?
Heavy.
Yeah.
It's heavy. Because I feel like somebody can tell me something that's, like, bothering them and then be over it in 5 minutes. And I'm like,
you're still feeling
my
it.
God. I'm like, ready to cry. I'm ready.
And were you able to, like, because I'm assuming you've been like this most of your life, or your entire life.
Yeah.
When did you realize, okay, I'm actually taking on this energy? Everyone is not, because my mom used to say this. She used to say, you're more sensitive than anyone really is. You're making it seem like everyone's so sensitive, and it's like, okay, so I'm the only one. But for you, it's like, when did you realize that, yeah, I am taking on energy and maybe no one else is?
I think it was moments like that where I realized, when people would share things with me, how heavily I would take it. And we could talk about it again, and they'd be on to the next thing. And I'm like,
but
how are you surviving? How are you just walking around like you didn't just drop that information? So I'm like, and that happened with multiple people.
Okay. Yeah.
Multiple friendships or relationships or whatever. And I started to realize, like, I have to treat myself differently. Like, I can't just be out here having any conversations. And because when you're that type of person, when you are so sensitive to people, you tend to attract people
who are
that
ready
need to lay the load down, right? So you attract a lot of people that they know how nurturing you're going to be, and you start to feel heavy because of it. And so I started to see that reoccurring theme, not only in my friendships, but in work relationships, in everything around me, even in just family relationships. I just started to see, like, okay, I'm taking this differently.
Yeah.
It's affecting me differently. And so I've been on my own self-help or self-discovery journey for, I would really say, I mean, obviously your whole life, right?
Yeah.
But being conscious of it for like the last 10 years. And as I got deeper into that and I started to just kind of take care of myself, I started realizing, like, you gotta set boundaries. And so when you ask that question of, like, doing one-on-one and offering services, it's like, I just have to, it's a boundary, but I want to do it, but I have to think of a way to do it so that I'm still being protective of myself.
Right. And I love the way that you've been creating, and you've been creating on your own terms.
Yes.
And that keeps you protected, rather than just putting yourself out there amongst, everybody at any time. You're curating what you want to present to the world, how much you want to share, and how much you don't. The one-on-one courses, I can imagine that it would be something that you really have to think about and
just be prepared, because you don't know what someone's going through.
So what part of you wants to do it?
I want to be able to help people through things.
Because you have empathy, you have compassion.
Yeah. I know what it feels like to feel lost. And that's what I get. I get a lot of people that are like, I relate to your story. I relate to feeling like I want to do these things, but I don't really know how to get out of my head. I don't know how to bring it to life. I don't know, you know what I mean? And I'm like, I remember what that felt like, and I felt so lonely in that part.
Yeah.
So if I could do something to help them through, and I mean, I know I create these videos and this content, but I'm like, if I could even create like a community, maybe something that's a little more tight knit where they can find their accountability partner, even if it's not me.
Yeah.
Maybe, so I'm still trying to figure out what it is, but maybe I figure out a way to create just a smaller community that we can kind of rely on one another. You know?
I like that idea. I'm actually taking I took 2 courses. I took one that was 4 weeks right before Christmas. So it was like going over towards through the holiday, and it was just it's someone, I don't know if you might follow her, Zena Star, on she's on Instagram, but she works just like in a spiritual nature, and she has like courses. One was on enlightenment, and no. Alignment was the first course that I took, and then the next one was intentions. That was for the top of the year, and she charges a small amount or whatever she charges, and she'll have a Zoom link, and everyone will join the Zoom.
That's what
and
I was thinking, like something like that.
A group thing where she mutes the mics. It's sometimes she'll let you raise your hand, so it's still kind of a safe space, because as much as love as she brings out to help people, people still come at her and say crazy things. Yeah. So I already know that you got to protect.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to protect.
You have to protect yourself. Yeah. I think that was the hardest part of me getting back into YouTube and like really speaking my mind, because you have to be also ready for people that don't receive it, you know? And you try not to think about that. Like, I'm trying my best not to focus on that part of it. But again, I'm a very sensitive being. So I'm like, I have to mentally be prepared for that.
That brings me to authenticity. You finding that for yourself. Where are you at with that journey of like remembering your authentic self?
I mean, I don't know if I ever, even though I feel I'm the most myself I am right now, I don't know that in any moment I felt like I was not being authentic.
Okay.
I feel like I was operating out of a place of anxiety before. So what I felt was authentic at that time was like me being in my head. Like it was.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like,
it was like a distress response.
Yes. Like I thought my anxious self was my authentic self.
So sometimes how people are like, that's just how I am.
That. Like you're like, I just don't do podcasts. I just don't do, like that was me before.
I get it.
And so like this now is like me really just trying to just embrace like, this is what I've always wanted to do. But I was like, I just don't do this. Like this is just not for me. I would keep myself away from a lot of things that I actually wanted to do because in my mind, I'm like, it's just not who I am. That's not how I am.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I didn't think in that moment that I was being inauthentic.
No,
it was only after healing through those things and
you're
really
able
recognizing
to look back
it.
And see that wasn't you.
Right.
How has being a mother pushed you to, I guess, to even like do more like self-work? Do you find that you have more time or less time or
girl, less.
Yeah, of course, less.
But he, like they say, when you have children, they show you what you need to work on. And so he has shown me, like, even though I've been in this space where I was like, I think I thought my EQ, like my emotional intelligence, was like so high. Like if you would have asked me before I had him, I was like, no, like nobody can get me out of my. And like me and my husband would get into things and I'm like, he needs to get it together because he needs to meet me where I'm at emotionally. And then this kid comes and I'm like, my patience. I have a lot to work on.
Wow.
And I mean, it's a good thing though, because he makes me realize, like he humbled me. He humbled me and just made me realize I had a lot of things I needed to work through. And especially when we talk about like anxiety, having a kid, it's different than you worried about yourself or things going on. Like it's this little person that's outside of you. So he brought up all the different types of anxieties that I didn't even know were there. You know, so like that first year or two of motherhood, I keep telling everybody I felt like I was like cloudy and like super anxious, and I didn't know that I was. And like coming out of that, kind of getting clear again, was how I came into this part of my authenticity.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Of trying to heal those parts so that I'm not showing up for him anxious and trying to overprotect him, making him an anxious person. You know what I mean? So it just made me want to work on myself more because I know he's watching.
He's watching.
Yeah.
Has motherhood helped you to understand like your mother or
yes.
mother? I hear that all the time. I'm not a
Yeah.
mother yet, so I'm like, what is that going to be like?
Yeah. You have a lot of compassion. I think, you know, before you're like, why didn't you do this? Or it's like you become a mother and you see how hard it is to balance yourself, taking care of yourself.
Yeah.
While taking care of a little human being. And you're everything to that person.
You're everything.
You know, you're everything to that person. Of course, it's me and my husband, but when you're trying, especially as a creative, and I mean everybody, I mean mothers all together, but as an entrepreneur, as a creative, trying to do your thing yourself, you know, we work 24/7. Like
it's always on the mind.
There's no clock out, and there's no clock out of being a mom. So it's like on go all the time. And I think when I look at my mom, and I look at how she kept herself together, and she always made everything feel so magical. You know what I mean? Like, I say that all the time. I'm like, she made, like, Christmas, and it felt like everything was so seamless.
Yeah.
And then you get older and you hear, like, what was really going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, we always find out later.
Yeah, like, they're like, that Christmas almost didn't happen. But as a kid, you're like, everything was perfect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do you find yourself... Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Do you find yourself wanting everything to be perfect for your son? Or are you at the place where you're like, perfect doesn't exist. This is our life and we are doing us?
I'm more like, I want him to see the behind the scenes. Not to a point that I want him to be worried or anything like that, but I want him to know when mommy's having a bad day.
Understand that those things happen.
I've allowed him to see me cry. Like if I get frustrated.
Yeah.
And he's like, Mommy, what's wrong? You okay? And I'm like, I want him to see that though, because I don't want him to grow up and become an adult and be like, what's happening?
Yes.
Like, why is everything so stressful? It's like, I want him to know, like, mommy's a human. And I go through emotions just like you do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want him to understand what being a parent is. It's being a human being. You don't have to be super dad. Yeah. And I don't want you to expect your partner to be super.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, y'all can be human.
Definitely.
You know, and have your good days and your bad days.
Yeah. Showing him that full range of life.
Yep.
And I believe, like, the more and more as time goes on, I'm like, children really, they're those people. Like, they know. And
so
they
much
can
more than
learn
us.
And they start off so authentic.
And I feel like we strip that.
Yes.
With our anxieties.
With the things that we were mistaught, that we didn't realize we were mistaught, the things that have shaped us that we didn't realize were shaping us, like how you said. Like, people are like, this is how I am. No, that's just your accumulation of everything that happened. And until you're awake, then you can be like, you can start dissecting and saying, this is my nature, and this is just a distress response that is turned into a characteristic.
That part. Because all those things make your personality up until you dismantle it.
And then start being very, like, intentional. In creating. That's a very, like, enlightened place to be, and I'm so glad that we're sharing this same thought process. However, it's like, when I tell you it took me so long to get to a place of where I'm like, I can create. I've always been a creative, but I always thought that I could create tangible things, material things.
Gotcha.
And didn't realize that I could create my thoughts. I can create in the spiritual as well, you know? And it's really healing to be able to reflect and know that, you know, when the Bible says we're made in his image, that's a real thing. So the powers that he has, we possess within us. And we do have, you know, the ability to like go so far. I say all that to say self-trust. You spoke about that before. Self-trust.
It's everything.
Yes. And how did you identify even the term and then starting to like dig in and apply it for yourself?
I think it was realizing that I was holding myself back because so many times I had started things and I gave up or I didn't finish because I kept questioning myself. I kept questioning whether I could go through with it, whether I was talented enough, whether I could, just all these questions. And doing that over and over and over, I began to lose trust in myself. And so I never wanted to start anything. I had so many ideas. Like, before relaunching my YouTube channel, and I say relaunching because what it was before was so different from what it just feels so different from what it is now. And the few months leading up to that was like some of the roughest in a while, because I was in that space where I knew what I wanted to do. I had all these things trying to come through, and I was just like questioning myself and going back and forth. So it was like this pool that was trying to come out, but I was so scared. And I was just going back and forth in my mind. So that video that I did on self-trust came from such a deep place because I knew that I wasn't the only one.
Yes.
I wasn't the only one in that space of constantly questioning yourself and having so many things you want to do and just sitting on it. You know what I mean? So
Did you have a moment? Did you have a moment where you were just like sitting down and you just like either broke out in tears or blacked out or something to where you were like, this is not it? Like, I know there's so many instances where it's, because I feel like it just builds up and then you're just
and
like,
that's what it
no
was.
more.
Like I said, those months before, it was months of tears and like, what is this feeling? Because I hadn't been there in a while. And so at that point, I was moving out of lifestyle influencing and moving into something way deeper. But I didn't know what it was at that time.
Wow.
And it was just this space that I was in. It was like this, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like this space where I didn't know where I was going. I knew I was no longer whatever
you knew that
I had
no longer felt right.
It no longer felt right. It no longer felt like my place. And I was just trying to figure out what that next step was. So finally, like, it was one day I came out of a meditation. The first video that I filmed, I came out of my meditation so clear. And that one, I think that that video was, Is It You or Your Anxiety? I think that's what it was called. And that's what we just talked about. Like, are you operating out of a space that's truly your authentic self? Or is that all the things you've been through?
Yeah.
And I came out of that meditation so clear. I hopped up. I had never filmed a video so fast in my life.
Wow.
It like flowed out. And so that was months of me sitting there just like meditating and praying and crying and journaling.
Yeah.
And, you know, finally having that breakthrough for myself. And then after that, it was kind of like, I can't stop.
You can't stop.
I can't stop. It felt so good.
Yeah.
It felt like that's what I had been trying to birth for so long.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what does it feel like now then since you relaunched? How long has it been since you relaunched? It's Tiffany TV, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
I want to say July.
Oh, okay.
July. So was that 6
Yeah.
months?
Yeah, 7 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 months. How does it feel now that you've like been in it? Like what is the feedback or just like the energy that you've been?
Well, the feedback was, I think, different. It was more than I expected.
Really?
Because I expected to just put this out there and I was like, look, whether it gets 5 views or 100, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm putting this message out there for anybody that needs it. It's going to find who it needs. That was my prayer. Like, whoever needs this is going to come to, and it's going to change their lives. And if that is one person, then that is why God has been trying to push it through me. And I stuck to that. And so when I started to get, I want to say I posted like maybe like 6 videos before it started getting traction. The self-trust video was the one that took it to the next level. And once that happened, it was like, it started to blow up. And then people were like, oh my God, I feel like you're in my head. I feel like you know exactly what I was going through. How did you say this? And it was in my mind. I didn't know how to, bring it out into words. And so I think that was like the confirmation of I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And
now you're just absorbing that.
Yeah. Now it's like, I'm doing my best not to let any of that change my course, because it can do that. Like when you start getting people requesting things, and things, you start being like, let me do more of this. And I'm like, no, I need to stick to what I feel is coming through me, because that's how we got here.
What do you do to stay on track? Because it's like every day is a new day, right? It comes with a different energy. What do you do in the midst of like reading the feedback and be like, do this, and then you might get some adrenaline because you're happy that everyone has feedback, but then you're like, okay, how do you get back to center to remember what you're doing?
Meditation.
Yeah. Is that every day?
Every day.
Is that when you wake
up? And
up?
if I miss it, I'm thrown off.
Really?
Yes.
So, okay, meditation is, I have not mastered it, but I do a little something. Now tell me, like, how did you get started with your meditation?
I started like 10 years ago, like I told you, when I started this like self-discovery journey. And I needed it because anxiety.
Okay.
So when I started looking up or reading different books on like how to manage anxiety and how to like heal your nervous system, that's one of the first things that's going to come up. And so I started out just doing like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
A couple minutes each day. And now.
Was it guided? Or?
I did guide it.
Okay.
And right on YouTube. I just went and I searched whatever I needed for anxiety, for whatever. And now I'm up to like probably like an hour.
Wow. Excuse me.
I mean, that's 10 years though.
No, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
And wow, that has to be insane, because I think the longest I've done has probably been like 15 minutes that I really got into it. And I was like, oh, it's just to learn how to bring yourself back there each time.
And to quiet your mind, Yeah. That helps me. It helps me every day because, again, parenting is a lot. And I think especially for someone who I really value quiet and alone time.
Yeah.
And you don't get much of that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Especially when they're this small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so it requires a lot of patience and being present. So I think that's why I have made sure it's a little longer. Like I said, an hour of meditation, but I just try to be as centered as I can.
You realize that you have to take care of yourself in order to be who you want to be.
Be the best mom and a creative, and be able to keep flowing as a creative, and a wife and a friend and all the things,
I'm so inspired by that. I'm so inspired that you take that time, because I know that a lot of my friends have children, sister, cousins, all that kind of thing. And it's a sticky subject when, the conversation, how you were saying, it changes your life, having a child. It's less time. It's not just about you, that kind of thing. And I don't think there's enough conversation around how traumatic it can actually be, right?
It's a big shift.
In an emotional way. And it's like almost, because it's natural and it's one of the most beautiful things that can happen to give birth. I think it's often saying like, if you have the honor to do that, then you better not have nothing else, you know? And it's just like,
we need space to be able to say,
I need space. I don't have a child. You see what I'm saying? Like,
you're like, when it's my time.
Yeah.
I try to talk to new moms and future moms, and I'm like, you need time for yourself. You need space. You need your friends you can vent to.
Are there groups, support groups that where women can start saying like, I don't like my child today.
Listen, get your friend to have a text group, because we be in that like these kids. And I'm telling you, I was just telling my best friend, he's 3, and he is a 3-nager. The attitude, the nose are very definite. They're look you in your eye nose.
Ooh.
The hitting, it's like, and I'm gentle parenting.
Okay.
I like to say it's like gentle conscious parenting.
Okay.
Because he still gets the look. He still gets this is not the time. Like,
yeah,
we're not doing this today.
Yeah.
But I think very different from the way a lot of us were brought up.
Yeah, I mean, you know? I think I was kind of gentle parented, honestly, back in the day. But
you had a gentle parent?
My mom was very gentle.
That's amazing.
My mom was very gentle, and my dad was reserved in the way where he'd give us a look that I was more, whatever happened, I don't know if it was religion, however, what example I saw, but I was so afraid to disappoint them. So it didn't really take much but a look.
Same.
You know, and I don't know how they managed to make that happen. But do you speak about gentle parenting to your audience?
I don't.
Okay.
I used to.
Okay.
I think when I was doing lifestyle and I was talking more about my family and things like that, I hit this point where I was like, I don't want him out in the public too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like I want him to make that decision when he gets older. I don't want to put all his business out there.
I love that.
You know, but that took time because I was so in it. I was so in lifestyle influencing.
Yeah.
And my husband is also very private. It just felt, I think once it became a lot about family, it started to feel unnatural for me. Because it wasn't just me. When it was just me, I was fine. But like trying to post family things, it just didn't feel good anymore for me. You know?
Yeah.
And I want to keep him protected. So I don't speak about it much because I just don't want to open up that part anymore.
Did you ever get any backlash talking about gentle parenting, saying, you know, that it was just a trend? Or were people like into it and they were like, yeah, we got to do better. We got to start, you know.
Yeah, I think I curate a good audience.
Okay.
You know, so like I get the wanderers every so often that come on and want to get a little
tussle.
Crazy, want to tussle a little bit. I'm like, block. I'm real good at it because I'm like,
good.
I don't have time, and I'm not going back and forth with anybody about my parenting choices, about my spiritual choices, I'm not going back and forth with people about things like that. You know what I mean? So I didn't get much backlash. I got more people that were like, wow, I want to go down that road.
Yeah.
That was another thing, like talking a lot about parenting online. I feel like people can think you're perfect. Because we don't, like, I don't want to film the bad moments.
Yeah.
I don't pick up my camera.
Yeah, we don't do that.
I don't want to.
Like you said, you're creative. You're gonna give an aesthetic. You're gonna give.
And also, like in those moments, I don't need to pick up my phone. He needs me, or I need to be present. I need to, you know what I mean? It's just like I couldn't share it all, and I didn't want to make it seem like I have it all together as a parent and everything looks so good and I just do this gentle parenting and like everything's so perfect and here's how I handle it. It's like, no, that's not the truth.
It's not.
But then I also didn't feel comfortable sharing that much of myself.
Yeah.
So it was like,
so it just made sense to just back away.
Just back away.
Yeah. And as a mother, the intuition of being a mother and knowing how to naturally move into like a different space.
Yeah.
You felt that. Did you have resistance from like your family about like your husband or anything like that, or was it just your gut that was saying?
What do you mean resistance from him? Resistance of me moving back, or resistance of posting?
Resistance of like sharing too much about the family dynamic.
My husband is very supportive, so if I'm like, babe, we're doing this, he's like, cool,
let's go.
He's like, can we get it done in like 5 minutes though? Because He just really hates being in front of the camera.
He does?
He's the behind the camera guy. Like, he does all of he takes pictures for me, and
Oh, I love that.
he sets up my camera
Super
for
supportive.
YouTube.
He's just not going to be the star.
He just doesn't want to be. He's like, I'll do it for you.
Oh.
But I knew that, and I just started feeling like I didn't want to force him. Once it started feeling really unnatural.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, babe, we got to take pictures today. That started to feel like, that's when I knew it was no longer feeling authentic for me.
Yeah.
And when my son just started wanting to run off the camera, I'm like, I'm not going to fight him. I am not going to.
Like, did you feel like you were being like a pageant mom? You were like, come on, let's go.
Come on, I'll give you candy. Let's smile. I'm like, once we started doing that, I was like, this does not feel like it's aligned anymore.
Yeah.
You know? And I just wanted to start talking about deeper stuff. And where I was at, it just wasn't the place for that. And when I tried to, people were tuned out. And that's when I knew. I was like, okay,
they could feel it.
Yeah. And I think what I was doing, the content I was doing, they just felt like when I started talking deep, like what I'm talking about now on YouTube, they felt like it was two different worlds. Because I went from talking about like Walmart. Sharing my Walmart finds or whatever lifestyle campaign to trying to do a YouTube video about self-help and self-trust. And it just felt like two different worlds. And so I was like, all right, I got to take a step back and really figure out what I want my brand to be.
Yeah.
And what really matters to me. Is it campaigns and money? Or is it like fulfilling what my soul really is calling for right now?
Yeah.
You know?
That your body, your soul was rumbling.
Girl,
and
it was not okay.
It was not okay.
It was not okay.
What would you tell other YouTubers who are growing their channels, their audience, and starting to have success, but are also still feeling like, whoa, like this, I need to go, this is not the direction I want to change, and then being afraid if they're going to lose the momentum or lose their original following? Like, what would you say to help them trust themselves or find out that voice?
I'll say this. I mean, to each their own. If you're happy doing what you're doing, then stay doing that. But when you feel that call to be doing something different, don't do it. If you're doing it for the money, the ratings, or because you see somebody else doing it, that doesn't last. You know what I mean? I've realized that. Because I feel like in lifestyle influencing, I kept going because I was like, oh, the money was so good. And like, I see other people like really excelling. Like, let's keep going. And that was not enough at all. Because my soul wanted something different. And I kept putting that on the back burner. Like, all right, once I have this much in the bank, once I have this much saved, once I gain this amount of following, I'll get back to it. And it's like, I got to this point where I was like, this is not it. You know what I mean? So like, if you feel your soul calling for something, go all in. And I feel like my problem before was like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I wanted to do the thing I really wanted to do, but I also wanted to keep doing this and like
not fully surrendering,
not fully giving it a chance. And once I fully committed and stuck to it, and I made a decision like, I'm gonna keep doing this no matter what, no matter, again, if it's 5 people that show up, then me and them 5 people gonna be rocking out every Wednesday. We're gonna have our tea or our bevy or whatever we're drinking, and we're gonna rock out, and that's what it's gonna be, because this feels good for me. And I don't know, at that point I was like, I don't know how this is gonna be lucrative, because I want this to be my career. You know what I mean? Like, but I was like, I kind of have to just follow where it takes me. You know what I mean? And so I think committing is the biggest thing.
Committing to this inner...
right here.
It's often just like a feeling, like
it's a feeling.
Unrest.
It's the thing that you think about, I feel like, when nobody's around. Because that's what it was for me. Like, I feel like when I would come out my meditation with like an idea of something, I would just start talking out loud. I'll probably look like a crazy person.
And that's how you like
but
sift
that's
through
how I thought through my things. Like I would write it down, and then I have these ideas, and I just start talking out loud, almost like I'm talking to you right now.
Oh,
like
I
I'm
love
serious.
it.
I had to get it out. I think that was my way of like, if I couldn't write it,
Yeah.
I just needed to talk it out.
Okay.
And then it would make sense. And then I would write it out and make it like a topic for a video.
Got it.
But I had to talk like I was talking to camera. And I was doing this for years. And I couldn't figure out how to bring it to life the way I wanted to. But yeah, I think I think everybody knows, and they're scared.
They're scared.
It's scary. It's scary to go after the things you really, really want, because now it's not your private thing anymore. Now it's out in the world. Now it's open for people's scrutiny, you know, and people can interpret certain things. And if you're not ready, it can be scary. It can be really scary. But if it's something you really want, and if it's something you can't stop thinking about, and you like, you know what I mean? You really have a pull for it, go for it, but fully commit. And that is my biggest thing. Do not straddle the fence. Do not be like, I'm going to try it, and if it doesn't do this well, I'm not. No, you got to go all the way in.
You got to go all the way
in.
in.
And be consistent, because people want to see consistency.
Yeah, we love consistency. Because we're like, okay, we're going to turn on every Thursday or every day of the week, and it's like, I want my same fix. Like, I need my same thing.
Yes.
So don't stop. I was talking to a friend of mine. We were talking about that exact thing of like, not straddling the fence with what you do. And I was referring to it as like being unapologetic with what I do. Yeah. Like, like how you were speaking about the nervous system and things that affect the nervous system, and then in turn how the nervous system starts to like control us, you know?
Right.
And so making certain decisions in my life and saying, okay, I need this 30 minutes to myself, so I'm going to go to the spa. And then I go to the spa, and then the whole time I'm in the spa, I'm like, dang, I hope no one needed me right now, or I hope everything's okay. It's like, you might as well not even have gone to the spa. Right. Your nervous system didn't feel like you were at the spa.
Right. You're down on you're having your massage, and you're thinking about all the other things you should be doing. Or
So when you do it unapologetically. Don't straddle the fence. Have gratitude, make it stand firm, so that you really can feel the energetic shift in your life. Yeah. And that's exactly what you've been doing. And
it's just committing over and over and over, though, because it's like
every day it's a commitment.
Every day. It's not like you commit this one time and all the thoughts just go away, or the doubts or the fears. It's like you have to keep recommitting, especially when you're trying to keep growing, and you want to get to the next level and the next level. It's like another commitment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I've heard people say like, I don't even worry about trying to do that, because once you do that, then you're going to be worried about the next thing. And then you get that done, you're worried about the next thing. Do you feel that way? And if you do, is it a negative thing, or is it just like how you look at life? Like, yeah, there's always more.
I feel that way sometimes. It does feel like it's constant, but I think when you're doing what you love, that's exciting. Because you're like, I get to keep unfolding. It gets to keep being exciting.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So as long as you're actually, you've connected to your authenticity. Yeah. And when you're living authentically, you are basically nurturing your inner child. You're nurturing yourself. Yeah. And so it doesn't feel like stress. If there is stressful thoughts that come up, but the foundation of it is joy.
It's joy. And I feel like you're going to feel those stressful moments, but the outcome always makes, like, you forget. Yeah. You forget about the stress. You forget about all the worries. You forget about all the stuff you were thinking about or had to go through. And once you get to the end of that, actually getting it done, like once I got that first YouTube video shot and edited and up, I was like, girl, because I had come from such a dark place. And it's like, when you can get yourself out of something like that and do what you said you're going to do, it's such a good feeling. So it's like, yeah, I don't want anybody to think you're not going to go through the stressful moments or like that goes away. It doesn't go away.
It doesn't go away.
But it's worth it. It's worth it. And I always say, like, are you willing to deal with the stress? There's going to be, I don't want to say stress because I don't want to speak that on everybody's life, but like, there's going to be tough moments.
Yeah.
Things you got to push through. Challenges.
Yeah.
There's going to be times you have to grow and lessons you have to learn. Always. So do you want to do that? And then the outcome be you hate what you're doing.
Yeah.
You don't really have anything at the end of it that you're really proud of.
Yeah.
Or do you want it to be towards something that matters to you, something that really feels good?
Because then it just evens out.
It evens out.
It really does.
Yeah.
It really does. You were speaking about how your husband is super supportive, and we love that. That's a beautiful thing, because that's not a common thing that I've heard about. So that's beautiful. What about? I know you spoke about like finding your tribe. Like, is there support outside of your like inner bubble circle? Like, do you have girlfriends? Oh, you have that one? Hey, girl. We know she's tribe.
My ride or die.
What has that been like? Like, being an influencer, being admired by many, having a following, being creative, going down your own path, entrepreneur, like, how hard has it been, or how has it been finding the tribe, keeping the tribe, letting go of the tribe, bringing up, what's that journey
I've
been like
really,
for you?
I've been really blessed because my best friend and I, who's here with me today, we've been best friends for 20 years. So
I just want to hug y'all because I already know what that feels like.
It's three of us. It's three of us, and we've been best friends for 20 years. So I have that core foundation, and I'm blessed. But we've gone through our ups and downs as well. You know what I mean? I think just growing from young women into the women we are now, like, we've had our times where we've gone our separate ways, and not really separate ways as far as not being friends, but just you're in different places at different times.
And what is that like? I want to know what was that like for you, like going our separate ways? Was it a conversation? Was it just distance?
It's just distance. Like, you go from being together all the time.
Okay. Yeah.
To just being in different spaces, like one of us becoming a mom or getting married or starting a spiritual journey. And you know what I mean? You just have your different waves. And then we all just, kind of caught up to each other slowly. And then you figure out now where you are in life and where I am in life.
Yeah.
Where's our common ground, and where do we find our time together? And I think when it's a solid friendship, that always happens. You know what I mean? You find your way back to each other, and you find your way of figuring out, what works for you now. And then as far as like new friendships.
Yeah, the new friendships.
I don't have many, but I have a few that are like, that happen because of events like, I did a panel where I spoke at like a women's empowerment event, and I met a close friend who's become a close friend to both of us. And it was just alignment. And it was, I think where I'm at in life is like, I need someone who understands I'm not going to respond right away. You have to understand that life is going on, and I'm going to respect that about you too.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to know is that you love me, and I love you, and I'm here for you if you need me. But we don't have expectations, these crazy expectations of one another. We just keep a very solid, I know who you are.
Yeah.
I trust you, benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
That's the word.
And that's beautiful
phrase.
Because you guys have been friends for so long. It's just like, like I know where she's coming from. She could say anything to you, but that it's coming from a place of love versus being like, what's she mean by that?
No.
It's like you don't have to deal with that. Now, do all the new friends have to mix with the previous friends?
No.
Because I was talking on the episode last season or whenever that was. I'm the all or nothing friend.
Are you?
Yeah, I am. Like, in the sense of like, I don't need you to be with me every day. I don't need you to answer every day. I don't need you for everything. But I don't want to I don't want to hang out with people who I have to change around. So you need to be able to know that I'm a person that's going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be transparent. And I don't want to feel like I can't trust being vulnerable and transparent. If we're going to be around each other, and we're going to do things together, I just want to feel like it's really solid like that. I have now learned how to have the upper layer of just like, we're hanging out.
Yeah, I think I'm able to be myself in all of my friend groups.
Got it.
But I think I respect the different personalities. So the only time I force anything is like if I'm having an event, it's like, okay, everybody's going to be there, right? But like, I know the difference. Like,
you can tell.
I just know the difference. And I'm like, I respect that. And I'm not going to force it. I'm able to be myself in any room, but okay. I respect it.
Yeah. And you're able to compartmentalize that. Being in the industry that you're in, and then, being an influencer and wanting to grow just your brand in general. What is networking like for you? Do you like to network?
No.
You don't? I think I heard you talk about that I
don't.
Like, networking is not for you, and you wish everyone would stop
honest.
Trying to make you network.
Sis, if you want me to be honest, I am very much if God wants me to be, if God wants me to have another friend, another person, it's going to happen. I'm no longer looking. I think that's the thing too. Like, I'm not, if it comes, it comes.
Yeah.
I am very content with my friendships. And I'm open. I'm open to friendships.
Yeah.
And I'm always speaking more positive women into my life. And I am open, but I'm not forcing it.
Got it.
That's the thing. Like, I'm not going out like rubbing elbows and like, hey, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
If it happens though, I'm open.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to be in the right place at the right time and meet who I need to meet. I don't need to plan it. But for someone who is looking for that tribe, who doesn't have that, I do think you have to be a little more intentional. Yeah. Be a little more intentional about getting out. Because that panel I did that one year, I didn't want to do it. Like, I was going to cancel.
Wow.
And then my best friend was supposed to go with me, and she couldn't come that day. So I really was like, look, I don't want to go.
You was going to send them a little...
I think I'm going to just...
Boo.
I'm not feeling well today. But I'm glad I did, because I met one of my best friends.
Oh, wow.
So...
What said go? It was the intuition. What was it that said go?
Girl, it was raining that day. I had to drive from Philly to Jersey. There was no reason for me to go. I had all the reasons to be like, no. But I had committed to being on the panel.
Okay.
And I didn't want to... The females that were hosting it, I really loved them, and I didn't want to do that to them. And so it really was just go.
Yeah,
like,
to go. So it sounds like once again, like how you brought that word up again, commitment. Like you stayed committed.
I kept my word.
And it really ended up being a blessing.
It ended up being the biggest blessing. Because I also met, outside of my husband, my photographer that did all my content for about 2 or 3 years.
Oh, nice. You had to go.
I had to go. I was meant to be there.
You were meant to be there. And commitment is powerful, because it just made me think, like, so often we'll set a goal, and on the way to the goal, everything imaginable happens, and then we wake up one day and we're like, I don't feel like it, or this or that. But if you're committed, you're just committed. And when you stay committed, then really how you feel about it in that day or time doesn't matter.
You have a bigger goal. You have something bigger that you're focused on. You know what I mean? So like the temporary thing that you're going to feel, because that happens. Like,
it does. It happens. Like
going to film the other day, I woke up and my son got me sick. And I felt terrible. But I was like, I have to do this. Because if I don't, I know it's going to be another week. It's going to be another. So get up.
Get up.
Make it happen. Make some tea. I had some tea and I made it happen. You know what I mean? So like, That's been one of the biggest lessons in this past year for me, is commitment and showing up and finishing what you start. Especially when it's something that's been on your mind for a while.
Yeah.
Or something you've been wanting to do for a while. Something you've been planning for a while.
Yeah.
Your temporary emotions. You can get nervous. You can get, you know what I mean? And that'll make you feel like you don't want to do it. But if you can push through.
Yeah.
And that self-trust of trusting that when you committed to it, there was a reason you committed.
So your why.
Your why.
Your why. How much of it is your why a thing for you? Like, it seems like it's everything, because you shifted your whole...
You took the words out of my mouth. I'm like, it's everything. It is the only reason, like, I kept pulling myself up when I wasn't feeling like continuing to try on this journey. You know what I mean? This entrepreneur journey. Like, there's times I'm just like, I'm just going to get a job.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot. But then it's like, are you really? Would you stop being dramatic, girl? Like,
be there for 1 week and then be like, take me now.
I can't do this anymore. Like, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You know? So, like, what do you really want? There's so much more. Legacy and generational wealth and so many cycles I want to break in my family, and just open us up to a different way of living, you know?
Yeah.
So many things I want to do for my parents. It's so much bigger than me.
That's such a thing. It's so much. The why tends to be way above
Yeah.
us as humans.
Yeah. And if you can keep going back to that, like, my spirituality is huge. You know, like, whenever I'm feeling like I'm like, I can't do this. This is a lot. I go back to God would have never given me this vision, would have never given me this desire to want something different. Like, I remember wanting different back when I lived in the projects in Brooklyn. This is when I'm like 6.
Yeah.
Like, I remember just like imagining myself.
Six is a really crazy age.
So my idea of wanting something else was having a convertible. I wanted a car with no top.
Okay.
And I wanted to be driving around somewhere sunny.
Yeah.
That was my idea at 6.
Yeah.
It probably was Barbie.
You probably influenced by Barbie. But yeah, you needed some inspiration.
But in my mind,
yeah,
that's what I wanted. Like, that was me growing up and being like, you made it, sis. And it's like, as funny as that is, for me, I'm like, through life, that transformed. But it always was like, I looked around like, okay, this isn't it.
This isn't the drop top. This is not the sunshine.
This is
like,
not
figuratively,
the drop top. Right.
Yeah.
This is not the drop top or the sunshine. Like, there's more. When people were like, when we were coming out of school, and people were like, all right, I got to just get this job so I can just, you know, pay my loans off. I was just like, that's it? Like, for me, I was just like, I want to really like my life. Like, I want to do something that really is inspirational and something that really means something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me. And so I just, there was always those pools of like, I don't know why. I don't know why this keeps popping up for me, but it does.
Let me ask you this, because I was going to ask you this earlier, and then you brought up breaking generational curses and wanting something different from how you were raised. How much of that feeling inside do you think is the bloodline, is the ancestors that are
that gave me chills,
girl? Because your life in this present moment, you were an influencer, you were lifestyle, you had a very different, like, you had created what you wanted, but it wasn't enough. And so there was something from way back that is in you that's like, okay, well, since you're good, you're the one that's going to take it to the next. Since you're okay and you're good enough, you're solid enough to receive this message, now it's your job to...
That's deep.
That's so deep.
Oh, that makes me emotional.
Yeah. No, it's for real. It's a lot of us that are feeling this in our lives right now. That it's that we're the ones that are changing it, and that's what we will do until we're, you know, till the job is done. And when last guest was like, I'm not coming back here again as a soul. I still haven't figured that whole thing out yet, but yeah, I get it. Like we have a purpose here. So yeah, that's a real thing, and I feel it in my life, because I'm just like, ain't no way I still need to find some more depth.
Listen,
I'm
there's
just
no
like,
way.
why can't I just be
there's
okay?
No way.
I really have struggled with that. Like, why can't you be okay? You have a lot of great people, experiences, all this stuff, and no.
And you still are.
I'm still in deep. I'm still in a deep journey.
Yeah.
So I've realized, and I've come to know that, okay, yeah, this is how this works. This is coming
and that's
through.
my thing. I'm like, if I keep feeling it, it's because I'm meant to do it. It's because I'm prepared to do it. You know?
Yeah.
And that's my prayer on a daily basis when I feel like I don't want to.
Okay.
I'm like, it's not me though. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, if I can get my human self in line and out of the way, it's bigger than me. That just put it into perspective.
I'm glad we had that moment.
Me too.
Yeah, because I felt that too. I have a couple more things before we close. The one thing that you just said about, I can't remember exactly what you just said, but it made me think of the duality of, you know, spiritual life and human life. Like, existing in the world with all the things, with all the outfits and the accessories and the houses and all that kind of thing, excelling in that space, but also wanting to excel in the spiritual space. Have you ever battled with that in any sense, or are you able to kind of see, hey, I'm just here in this body, I'm gonna do this body thing on this body thing, and then I'm gonna do
I feel
the
like
spiritual?
I always ask this question. I feel like, why would God make us human?
That is true now.
Why are we human? If we're only going to focus on the spiritual side, why did God give us this human experience? Why do we feel these emotions? Why do we have these things? Why? And why can't we enjoy both? Find a way to enjoy both. Find a way to express ourselves in both ways.
That's a really good point. That's a question that you can remind yourself of every day. Yeah, why did he make us human? I never even thought about that. No,
Let's
like,
talk
for
to
real.
him. Let's talk to him. Like, but I'm serious. I'm just like, that's the thing that I'm like, again, when I talk about closing my eyes and like visualizing things or coming out of meditation,
Yeah.
some of that is physical. Some of that is what my home is going to look like. Some of that is what I'm aware to this event I'm going to. Like,
Yeah.
And I know people don't want to talk about vain stuff like that when it comes to prayer or meditation, but I'm like, I see the world in a very visual way. So like,
Me too.
when I close my eyes and I see things, or when I'm planning to go to an event, I can see what I'm wearing. I can see what it looks like.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my best friend on the way here of like an outfit I have in my head. And I was like, I have to make it happen. Like, I will get the pants made if I have to get the pants made. But I seen it in my head and it has to come to life. And I'm like, I don't question that. Again, just like you asked me, like, what do you call yourself? It's like there's certain things I don't question. It comes through.
Yeah.
And I think the world we live in, people can make you feel bad about that. They can try to make you feel bad. They can make you feel vain. They can make you feel like it's wrong to focus on any of that. But it makes me who I am. It's a huge part of who I am.
I love that.
And when I try to focus too much on just being soulful and deep, I feel like I am not fully expressing myself. I also like to have fun. I also like to go out for drinks with my girls.
Yeah.
And dance and get dressed up. Like, that's a huge thing for us. It's the way we connect. It's the way we express ourselves. So like, if that makes me who I am and that makes me happy, why would I cut that off? I'm also very soulful and deep. The two things can exist at once.
Yeah. No, I love that, because that question alone is just something for me to reflect on, because that's something that I struggle with. Yeah, I'm
I get
like,
that.
yeah, like, is this purposeful? You know, like, is this just a distraction?
Yeah.
And it's just a mess. But just to to hear you say that, yeah, we have a human experience for a reason, because we could have been like animals, and animals don't get the choice. They just instinct.
Right.
They just do.
Right.
But we were made,
And they look how they look, their hair is whatever.
Yeah.
We can do all the things.
We can do all the things.
I love
wow.
that.
So it's actually a gift.
It is a gift.
Okay.
And it's expression.
Yeah.
You know, your home can express who you are, your car, your hair, your clothes.
Yeah.
I love it.
No, I love that too.
I love it.
One other thing that I just wanted to do before we close.
Oh, we have cards.
We have cards.
I love cards.
Reflect and affirm. Cards to nurture yourself and awaken your inner light. By Rochelle Sine. So what I'm just going to do is have you grab one, and then we're both going to answer.
Okay. What is something that you are grateful for in your life right now? You want me to answer first?
Because I'm like, is that a good one? Have we already done that like 1,000 times?
So you want me to do another one?
We've done that. Let's do
okay,
it. Yeah, let's
okay.
find out. I'm sorry. I'm like,
The ancestors
that's
call for
it.
that card. No,
Oh,
I'm joking. I'm
see,
joking. No.
no,
Don't
sisters,
feel bad,
come
don't-
back.
Don't feel bad. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. I hope you haven't done this one, because this is a good one.
Okay, we're gonna do it.
Okay,
anyway.
it says, what are some negative self-talk patterns that you have identified?
Ooh,
That's a good one.
that is a good one.
Ooh, I'm trying to pick which one, because I think that I am not knowledgeable enough to be doing the work that I'm doing right now. Because I feel like people can think you need to have a degree
Yeah.
or a class, and these are some of the things that I've just learned throughout life that I feel like I need to share, and it is helping people, but sometimes I get caught up in that.
Okay. Yeah.
Like needing more, what's the word?
Validation from a certain group that wants to. Yeah.
Feeling like I'm not experienced enough to be doing what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we don't believe that here. We believe in the real experiences that teach more so than just like the curriculums, for sure.
And I'm coming into that, because I think just doing it is what's helping me to get over that.
Yeah.
Which is another reason I keep pushing myself, because I'm like, the more I do it and the more feedback I get is when I realize, like, you're good.
If you're helping one, then you're helping. You know, you don't need that, because let's be honest, the doctors and the people with all the degrees,
they don't know all the things.
It's still some trouble
They
going
don't
on out here. So
the thing is, I still be leaving like, let me do my own research, because I don't know about that.
Exactly. So it's taking our lives into our own hands, and being who we need to be for our community, and for ourselves. For me, I would say a pattern is for negative self-talk is really just telling myself the same story over and over again in my head, or when I just started talking to a life coach, and I never would have thought, I would have been like, life coach, please. And so now I'm like, okay, I'm doing a few different things to kind of activate, myself. And so I decided to do it. And one of the things that they require me to do is to just kind of like share. They ask a lot of questions, and I share. And so I realized that I keep telling the same story from the same perspective, and like wondering why there's not a shift. Learning to tell the story, putting myself in the front seat. I'm the main character, because I was telling my story from a place of this happened to you. This is what someone
Victimizing.
did. Yeah. Yeah. And which is the quickest way to just relinquish all your power. And so that's what I am working through. Like, the story's got to sound different. I don't care what adjectives you got to change.
See it from somewhere different.
Yeah, like, you might feel the same way, but tell the story different. Put yourself in the driver's seat rather than saying, this person did this to me. Saying, hey, I allowed this to happen. This is what I
experienced. Right,
yeah.
taking the accountability for what part you played in it.
Yeah, so
that's a good one.
Good stuff is happening.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I wish we had more time, but I want you to tell, you can look at this camera, tell everyone where they can find you. Tell everyone, I know that you have some reflection cards.
I do.
Tell everyone what you have going on and where they can find you.
So you can find me on Instagram at Tiffany Laibhen. I'm quite sure you guys will put it on the screen.
Yes.
Right? Okay. And Tiffany TV on YouTube. And I have some self-love journal prompts called I'm Listening. They're really, really, really good to journal with, and especially if you are struggling with journaling. They help you. You don't have to think so much, and they just help you get flowing and connect deeper to yourself.
Hey.
Are we done?
Yes, we're done. Hey. Bye, guys.